In this restorative yoga class, we'll use props to help support and facilitate long-held poses that will ease tension in the mind and increase flexibility. I'll be using a folded towel, so go ahead and grab any prop you like, maybe a block, bolster, or pillow, and let's begin. Coming into seated easy pose, go ahead and bring your prop under your seat to boost your hips higher than your knees. Let the knees fall towards the ground and bring one heel in front of the opposite shin. Find length from the tailbone all the way up through the crown of the head. Let the eyes close. Bring the hands to the knees, maybe letting the palms face up into offering hands if you want to take in and absorb the energy around you. And take a long, deep inhale through the nose. And then hold. And take a long, deep exhale through the nose. Take another slow, deep inhale. Hold. And on the exhale, see if you can release a little more through the hip creases, maybe through the neck or the shoulders, just relaxing. And then blink the eyes open and slowly make your way onto hands and knees into a tabletop position. Once you're there, start to shift your weight forward, tracking your shoulders past your fingertips, and then shift your weight back. Using the breath, inhale, shifting forward, and exhale back. And then let this transform into a circular movement. So making circles as wide or as narrow as you want, opening through the wrists, through the hips, engaging and connecting with the breath. Find your own expression, so only you really know what your body needs right now or what your mind needs. And then using the same speed and the same width of your circle, reverse your direction. Opening up and finding balance through the opposite side. So really try to tap into those areas that need a little more expansion, opening, whatever it may be. And then settle back into a still, neutral tabletop position. Tuck the toes and bring the knees to touch, bring the big toes to touch. Sit the hips back onto the heels, lift the torso up. Bring the palms to touch at heart center, letting the thumbs slightly touch the sternum, gaze forward. Take a long, deep inhale through the nose, and if you'd like to set an intention for your practice today, now is your chance to go ahead and do so. On the exhale, release the breath. And on the next inhale, lift the arms up, hands reaching towards the sky. Get long through the side body. And on the exhale, bend the elbows, tucking the thumbs behind the head. Elbows are drawing away from one another. And try not to let the chin collapse down, so push the head back into the thumbs. On the next inhale, reach the arms back up towards the sky. And on the exhale, bring them down to the ground. Untuck the toes, coming onto the tops of the feet, big toes still touching. Take the knees wide and bring your prop to the center of your mat. So we're going to lay the chest and the head down on the prop. So just adjust accordingly and then go ahead and release one side of the head to the prop and melt the chest down. Extend the arms out long, coming into our balasana, our child's pose. The hips relax down towards the ground, maybe settling onto the heels. You can allow the eyes to close here, just coming into a meditative state, but still connecting with the breath, still staying fully present. By holding these poses longer, we're able to reach into deeper depths, definitely physically, but it can also translate to an emotional, mental, or spiritual awakening as well. And whenever you're ready, we're going to turn our head to rest the opposite cheek on the prop. And also this time we'll take our arms back behind us, letting the tops of the hands rest right outside the feet. Allow the body to resettle back into the pose. Taking a deep inhale through the nose and holding. And take a deep exhale to release a little bit deeper into the pose. We'll be here for about 8 more deep breaths. And then lift the head and the torso, remove your prop, and come back into your tabletop position. From here, reach your left arm out to the left side, extending all the way through the fingertips. Inhale. On the exhale, thread the left arm through to the right side, coming in between the right hand and the right knee. Gently drop the left shoulder and the left ear down to the ground. The left palm faces up, and let the right elbow bend backwards or start to walk the right fingertips forward. You want to make sure you're not bearing too much weight on your head or your neck, so make sure that you are supporting yourself with your hands and your knees. And we're just going for a gentle opening through the shoulders and the back side of the body. Take a long, deep inhale through the nose. Hold. And take a slow, deep exhale, releasing any tension in the shoulders, neck, or upper back. On the next inhale, press into the right palm, lifting the head and the torso out of the pose and lifting the left arm back out to the left before releasing it back down into tabletop position. On the next inhale, we'll lift the right arm out to the right, extend, and then exhale, thread it through to the left side. So we're really trying to reach those right fingertips as far to the left as possible. We melt the right shoulder and the right ear down to the ground. The left elbow can either draw back or walk the left fingertips forward, extending the left arm. And then tune in with the breath. Take a long, deep inhale through the nose, feeling the rise, how it feels different in the shoulders, so getting in tune with our body awareness. Then take a slow, deep exhale just to relax and melt a little bit deeper into the pose. On the next inhale, press firmly into the left hand, emerging from the pose, lifting the torso and the head up. The right arm lifts back out to the right side, inhaling, and then exhale, release back into your tabletop. Grab your prop and go ahead and place it a few inches away from the top of the mat. We're going to come into extended puppy pose. So take the hands on top of the prop and walk the knees back a couple inches. And then inhale to lengthen, and on the exhale, melt the chest down towards the ground. Try to keep the hips in line with the knees. The forehead can rest on the ground if that's available to you. Try not to lock out through the elbows, so take a slight bend. And then take a long, deep inhale through the nose. Hold. And take a long, deep exhale through the nose, releasing through the shoulders. On the next inhale, lift the torso out of the pose and scoot your prop closer towards your body. And we're just going to place it right under the head, extend the arms out long again, and then rest the forehead to the prop. So coming back into our extended puppy pose, just a different variation with a prop this time. You can leave the forehead where it is, or you can turn the head to one side Breathing, connecting with your breath, and then turning the head to the other side. On the next inhale, we'll rise back up out of the pose and bring your prop to the center of your mat for now. Come back into your tabletop position with hands directly under shoulders, and we're going to tuck the toes, lift the hips up and then back, straightening the arms, straightening the legs as much as possible, coming into our first downward dog pose. So the chest reaches towards the thighs, we elongate through the spine, and then we'll start to lift the right foot off of the ground and then draw the right knee in towards the right elbow. Draw the right ankle towards the left elbow so that the shin is parallel to the top of the mat, and then lower the hips down to the ground with that leg still in place. The back toes untuck and we come on to the top of the left foot. Coming into pigeon pose, the torso lifts up. If you need to make any adjustments with your prop, go ahead and do so, maybe placing it under your right glute to lift that hip a little bit higher to make them more square. Try to keep the hips square as we extend through the side body and through the spine, through the crown of the head. As you breathe deeper into the pose, you may want to release the elbows down to the ground, maybe forearms, maybe even releasing the head too, or maybe even resting the forehead on the ground or on the arms. We'll be here for a few more breaths and just try to find stillness. That's probably the most challenging thing to do in this pose. So we're just kind of teetering on the edge of comfort. It shouldn't be painful, but it also shouldn't be completely comfortable. So find your edge where you're wholeheartedly committed to the pose, but you're not going beyond your limits. Take a long, deep inhale, feeling the ribs expanding. Hold. And on the exhale, try to soften through the hips and release the glutes as well, so that you're not holding on anywhere. You're just surrendering to the pose. On your next inhale, lift the head and start to walk the fingertips back in towards the hips. Take a moment to find length again, extending all the way through the crown of the head, rolling the shoulders back. This provides a different stretch in our pigeon pose. And then press the palms into the ground, remove your prop, and gently release from the pose, and come into a seated position similar to the one that we started in. We'll bring the soles of the feet to touch, letting the knees splay open. And we'll take the fingertips back behind us so that they're facing the back side of the mat. And we'll inhale to lengthen and puff the chest towards the sky, maybe even starting to gaze up as well. So those shoulders roll back and the shoulder blades draw down the back. Press the soles of the feet firmly together and keep drawing the knees closer to the ground so it's almost like our hips could lift up. And then exhale, gently come back through center and make your way again onto your hands and knees. Prepare your prop for pigeon on the other side. And then we'll lift the hips up and back, coming into our downward dog pose again. Take a long, deep inhale through the nose. And on the exhale, start to draw the left knee in towards the left wrist and left ankle towards the right wrist. And then gently lower down into your pigeon pose. So again, make any adjustments that you may need, and remember that you're trying to keep the hips square in line with one another. And then inhale to lengthen through the spine. And then on the exhale, start to walk the fingertips forward if that's available to you, or stay where you are. Breathing through the pose. If you want to sink a little bit deeper, feel free to come down to forearms. And then maybe sinking even deeper, feel free to rest the forehead down as well. Take a long, deep inhale through the nose, lengthening all the way from your back foot through your torso and through the crown of your head. And exhale to sink a little bit deeper into the pose. So try to sink mentally deeper as well. So clearing any distractions from the mind, any thoughts or emotions that may be popping up in this pose, just let them come and go naturally. Do notice how this side maybe feels different than the last side. Just again, getting in tune with your presentness and your awareness. And then on the next inhale, start to lift the torso back up. Inhale to extend again, reaching through the side body, through the crown of the head. And then exhale, start to release the prop from the pose, coming back into a seated position. Extend the legs out long and take your prop again, and we're going to set it on our thighs. So we're going to end up folding over, and we want the belly and possibly the chest as well to rest on the prop. So it's assisting us in our forward bend. So go ahead and inhale to lengthen through the spine, and on the exhale, start to walk the fingertips forward towards the feet. Again, inhale to lengthen through the spine. And again, on the exhale, see if you can inch a little bit closer to the feet. If you're able to grab the feet, go ahead and do so. So at this point, we're trying to lift the belly up and over to rest on top of our prop. And in these longer held poses, it's more important to inch your way slowly deeper into the pose rather than going too deep at the beginning and having to back away later. So use the breath, use the prop, letting it guide you deeper into your forward bend. This should feel really good for reversing the effects of sitting all day at a computer or a desk, or even if you've been walking all day or been working on your feet. It's going to stretch the hips, the hamstrings, the calves, the entire back, including the neck. We'll take one last deep inhale through the nose here. Hold. And one last deep exhale. On the next inhale, slowly and gently rise out of the pose. We're going to take our prop this time right behind us, and we're going to end up rolling down to lay on top of the prop. So depending on what type of prop you have, you're either going to place it to align with your entire spine, or if you have a block, try to align it with your upper thoracic spine. And you may even need another prop or pillow to rest your head on if it feels like your head is hanging too heavy and it's too much pressure on your neck. So whenever you're ready, take the soles of the feet to the ground, knees come to touch, and roll back softly. Once you get there, make any adjustments with your prop. You really want this pose to be as comfortable as possible. This is going to open up through the front side of our body. It should really be a feel-good pose as we open up through an area that's often closed throughout the day. Take any variations with the legs here. You can bring the soles of the feet to touch, letting the knees splay out again into our Baddha Konasana bound angle. Or you can allow the legs to extend out long, or just keep the knees bent with the soles of the feet on the ground. Maybe even play around, see what works best for you. And then if you want to open up even more through the chest and the shoulders, feel free to take the arms into cactus position. So to do that, we take the arms out to a T, and then we bend at the elbows with the palms facing up. So the hands end up coming in a little closer to the head. It should look like a goalpost. If you notice that you're clenching or holding on anywhere, if any area is feeling tense right now, focus in on your breath. letting it guide you into relaxation and release. On the next inhale, extend the legs out long if they aren't already, taking the arms to the sides, almost like you're in a supported Shavasana pose. Inhale, feeling the chest expand. Exhale, feeling the release. From here, take one hand to the heart and one hand to the belly. Use your breath, your inhalation, to connect. Feel your heartbeat. Feel the rise and the fall of the breath as you exhale. So mind and body awareness. Literally feeling these involuntary actions of the body taking place. We don't even think about our heartbeat, our breathing, yet it's always happening. And take a moment just to appreciate the body, yourself. Take a long, deep inhale. On the exhale, release the hands back down to the ground. Bend the knees, taking the soles of the feet to the ground, and start to remove your prop. And then lay back down onto your back and hug your knees in towards your chest. Let your head rock back and forth. So gazing over to the right, then over to the left, over to the right, slowly over to the left, inhaling over to the right. Release the feet back down to the ground and roll over onto one side, coming into a fetal position. Feel the support of the ground beneath you, holding you up. And then place the hands on the ground and press yourself away from the ground, coming into a seated position similar to the one that we started in. Except this time, take the opposite heel in front of the opposite shin. Bring the palms to touch at heart center and let the eyes remain closed. Take a moment just to feel how your body feels different right now. Observe without judgment, noticing the small changes. And then take a quick moment just to give gratitude and thanks to yourself. You showed up on the mat, so accountability. You practiced, you moved, you breathed, so effort. You did something healthy and good for yourself, which is self-love, mindfulness, thoughtfulness. So take one last deep inhale through the nose, and we'll seal the class with one last deep exhale to release anything else lingering. Thank you so much for practicing with me. Namaste.